And welcome to another episode of DIOTALK. Let's talk. My guest of the evenings is a power couple, from investing to farming, book bestseller, coaching, you name it. The titles go on and on and on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tracy and Tabatha Thorell. Welcome to the show. How are you guys?
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We're great. We're honored to be here,
Doing
Dio.
good.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I've never had a power couple like you guys on the show, so it's the first time for me.
Well, we're glad to be your first, I guess.
Yes. So talk to me. What's going on? You guys have a lot of interesting things developing since we last spoke, right?
Yep.
So I don't know. I'll give you the floor.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was on your show solo. And so I'm Tabatha Thorell. I'm a speaker, author, coach, podcaster, and real estate investor. And this is my husband, Tracy.
Hi. Yep,
What's going on?
I'm the farmer part of this. So, and I kind of lead the show in the real estate investing and that part of it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel that, man. I feel that. How did you become a farmer? What inspired you? Like, can you get any backstory on it?
Yeah. So it's in my blood.
Nice.
What generation farmer are you? Do you even know?
I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you that.
That's how far back it goes.
Yeah.
I tried to think about it, and I was like, I know you're at least fourth generation.
Yeah. So the town that we live in, was bought from a great great grandfather, I think. He actually farmed this land before the railroad came through, and the railroad bought this land from him. So he
Wow.
traded some land just east of town, and that's
the way you've been going. All right.
yeah, that's where it all started, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so even before then, I'm pretty sure that they were farmers and moved out to this area.
Can I say an interesting fact?
Go ahead.
Which maybe I'm skewed on this, but I'm pretty sure he learned how to drive a tractor before he could ride a bike.
Wow.
Oh, I never
Yeah.
thought about that before.
He lived in the country, and so he didn't really learn how to ride a bike when he was really young, and he was always in the tractor, and he had to learn how to steer, or like his brother would push the pedals, and so he
That's
learned
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, it's just like any vehicle, you have to, reach the pedals or push the pedals to the tractor that I learned to drive on had a clutch, that you had to push to put it in gear. The one that I learned on had the foot clutch and also a clutch you could pull. And because I was not tall enough to reach that with my foot, I was able to use that with my hand to drive it. So
That's awesome, man. I'm happy to hear that. I grew up in the sort of vicinity of that as well. I grew up in Puerto Rico, so I wasn't a farmer, but I did partake with my friends in farming and their acres of farm.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I know a little bit about it.
We're actually going to Puerto Rico in 2 weeks with our family.
Nice.
Yeah. We went last year, just him and I, for his 40th, and we fell in love, and we're like, our kids have been begging us to take them, and so we're like, okay, let's go.
Well, I'll give you this much. If you could buy a little real estate, because everything's such affordable right now over there, take it.
Yeah.
Take it. Get some acres, increase your portfolio. I'll be awesome.
Yeah. Yes, that's the plan.
And we love Puerto Rico, so that would work out well.
Yeah. But
So
yeah, he's farm. So
how do you what do you farm exactly? What do you have? Do you have cattle?
So
vegetables, fruits?
We farm corn and soybeans.
Nice.
And that kind of, so when I was younger, my dad farmed corn, soybeans, and then we had cattle. That was kind of a common thing in farmers in our area, was to do, we call it row crops, and then cattle. And in 1996, my dad decided to be done with cattle, that part of the operation. So he sold off the herd, and then a couple of years later, he bought his first rental property. And so then I grew up working on that and farming. So that's how I got my kind of taste for
develop the real estate aspect of
rental
it.
properties, yep, and real estate investing. So yeah.
Which one do you like more?
Farming is a disease that's in your blood. No matter what it pays, I would rather be doing that than but real estate, I love the thrill of finding a deal, that pays well, and you can kind of buy it, get it to where you want it, set it over here, and then it becomes a kind of a cash cow. It keeps paying you every month. I do like that part of it. So
are you incorporating your kids? Do they help out? You teaching them?
oh yeah. Yep.
Nice. Good
So
fundamental there.
yeah. So when we always talk to the kids about, like, if you want a car, if you were just to take that money and invest in a property, then that property could pay for your car and many things after that.
Yeah.
So what we tell them is what you could pay for a car. Say they want a $10,000 car. Okay. Which for your first car, for us, that's even a stretch, but you can put that as a down payment for a house. And what you can get in return, you could lease a nicer car. And so we like them to think about it too. Like, you could have an old rundown beater, which is fine when you're learning and stuff like that. But we like them to expand their thinking of, just because you're 16 or just because you live in Nebraska doesn't mean that you can't have the things that you desire, even if it's a little bit higher scale. But you have to think differently. You have to think smarter. And then with that, the responsibility of having that nicer item. So it also teaches them to up-level their maturity, because they've invested in it themselves and we didn't just give it to them, they're going to treat it with more respect. And then the thing is then that house, they can leverage that even when they go to college and buy another house, and they can have their friends paying them rent that's paying for their rent. So they're not having to work 40 hours a week like I did in college,
Yeah.
Or if they don't want to go to college and they just want to be an entrepreneur, but they want, to rent out the house. And so that is one thing that we have always done with them. We've always brought them on projects. On our website, you can see the kids when they were younger, like help renovations. They would come with us and even just play while we worked, or, we were together, because farming is a very rigorous job and it takes a lot of hours out of the day. And so we didn't want another job taking him away from us. And we thought if we can incorporate them, teaching them the different things of what it takes to make something old and turn it into new and make it look nice, this is what it takes. They also have a respect for it. If we do hire someone out, what that cost is, the sweat equity, the time equity. And that's one of the reasons why we do love real estate, because it allows us time together, whether that's time away to go to Puerto Rico, or if that's time together to work on a property or to show a house or, do other things. We just did it not wrong. We did what we knew. His dad didn't really know the best practices. He just knew hard work. So he made everything hard. I feel like he was just like, you got to do it yourself and nobody does it right. I have to do it myself, and a guy can't make money if he doesn't do it himself. And so we were kind of wired that way. And so the first, 10 years, we did everything ourselves.
That's tough.
Everything, like plumbing, everything. Tracy would go out for any tenant thing, anything. And then we were like, we got in front of some people that were like, you need to work smarter. And so then we started hiring some people out, not doing all the work ourselves. And we're still kind of in that transition. We just, I looked at coaching programs and there was only like generic ones that were kind of like courses, and it was just very not personable. And I just felt like it was very generic, like what you always hear, go out and, put 20% down and buy a house and fix it. Like,
it's more than that. It's more than that.
There's so much more than that. And there was nobody alongside us, like when we would stumble, to like correct us sooner. When we would stumble, it would be like a 9-month stumble because he farms pretty much 9 months out of the year. And so if there was a stumble, we had to wait until he had a little bit of downtime. Now, if we would have had like a mentor or a coach or even a consultant, and I'm not saying that they weren't out there, but they were the real estate world's very man driven and very like stoic and like real estate agents and very mechanical. And we needed somebody that said, how can we bring the family aspect in this? What are you building for your future? Because this wasn't just for us. Like most people that buy, especially their first income or their second income property, they just want a passive source of income. They're not necessarily in it to build, a real estate business yet because they haven't even started. And we saw it as a business, but we just did it hard. We just did it the hard way. And we want to help people not do it the hard way, to do it with fun and family and looking at your legacy and building characteristics in your kids. Yes, hard work, but how can you work smarter so that time is working for you instead of against you? How can you have money working for you instead of against you, and not having all these ill emotions around money? How money can be fun and can be a tool, and real estate is just a tool that can build that for them. And so for us, like, that's our new project. That's my baby. He's just kind of the real estate brains behind it a little bit.
The number guy.
The number guy. Yeah, he's definitely the number guy because I'm not.
I mean, but it's very tedious because you got to calculate the market, the cost, the investment, how much you're going to get in your return of your investment. And always the dialogue of, is this worth investing in?
Correct. Yeah.
It's a headache in itself. When I'm sitting right next to my wife and we're calculating a property because I scout properties, right? So I see the structure of the bone. For me, it's like the bones. If the bones are good, everything else is cosmetic. That can be fixed. You depending on where you go, your warehouse, you can get your discount here, there. But is this worth investing in?
Yep.
And that's really where determines if you're gonna pull the trigger or not.
Right.
Being at your location where you come from, how's the market over there? Is it good? Is it great? Is it up and coming? Like, because for your business to thrive and unity and to succeed, like the market has to be in, I don't want to say great, but at the same level that you're in.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd say consistent.
It's very consistent, but it's like everything since COVID, the housing market really jumped. So finding the deal is a lot harder, because rent. COVID was different because it pushed the housing market, but people weren't able to pay their rent, so
made it difficult. Yeah,
the market did not. The rental market did not follow the housing market. So we're looking at different opportunities. So.
And I think that's the thing. It's like constantly evolving and looking at things. I don't want to say without fear, but the emotion that fear brings, like just looking at it like a challenge. Is this challenge worth it? Because in real estate, it's, like any investment, the turn will come. Even if you think it's a bad investment, or say you get a house and all of a sudden the market drops and you're like, oh my gosh, like my house is worth $20,000 less than it was. The worst thing you can do is feed into that fear, because the fear is not real. The fear is an illusion. Okay. So when you can take that illusion and say, okay, like the market dropped, so I have to pivot. I have to either hold on to it longer, or like you said, we always say, put lipstick on a pig. Like we got to make it cosmetically so people want to come in. So maybe they'll pay a little bit more in rent. Or can we go to a market that, like, for us where we live, not a lot of people allow pets. And we had to pivot and say, okay, we're going to allow pets. but then this is what the rent is going to be. This is what the deposit's going to be. We're going to pull all our carpet up. We had to pivot, and then we were able to be cash flow positive, and other people in our area weren't doing that. Well, I don't believe that they were cash flow positive because they were missing a lot of rental opportunities. So you have to pivot in that. And I don't know if you're familiar with like Chip and Joanna Gaines, but they were in the flipping market before they ever had Fixer Upper on HGTV. They were in the flipping market. That's what they did. And Chip was actually going to buy this big acreage, and he was going to put all these new houses on it. And the deal fell through, and they were struggling. I think it was right around 2008. I can't really remember, when all the housing stuff, and the flipping market was not good. And so he's like, we have to pivot. And that's when they actually went to the people who were already going to buy a home. They were already going to buy it. And he said, hey, I will help you buy a home that's crappy and I'll fix it up for you. He pivoted the way that he looked at things. And then that changed the whole kind of renovation market and the flipping market, and then they made a whole TV show about it. So it's, for us where we live, it's that constant, like, how can we pivot to make it cash flow positive, not feeding into the fear, which is an illusion of, oh my gosh, we're going to lose this deal. It's more about like, who has the money? What bank's going to give us the money to invest in this? Because we are a safe investment for banks because we've been doing it for so long and we are cash flow positive, so finding those sources, finding the creative deals, which he loves to do. I wish he had more time to work on that because we want bigger deals. We're looking for like bigger units, which we've never done before, but finding those collaborations, finding those other investors, other properties. We're looking at storage units, doing things, differently than what we've done, but not being afraid like, oh my gosh, we're going to lose our shirts. Because if you stick and stay with any investment, you're going to make a profit.
No, you have to evolve. You have to readjust. Like, that's the beautiful thing about real estate, that everything and anything is negotiable.
Yeah.
Right. So like you could buy a piece of land, and depending on where's the demographic or location, you could rent that land out to a McDonald's that are always looking to open a fast food franchise, right? Or like you said, open your own storage units facility. So there's so much room for potential that if you don't readjust, if you don't really know how to if you don't like how to experiment, because real estate, you're experimenting when it comes to the deals, when it comes to building, when it comes to investing in people, because as you guys stated earlier, like, you do it yourself. Right now you guys are you climb that ladder, and we're like, what I tell everybody, you're in upper management. Because upper management, once you go upper management, you have this clear view on what's working, how the operation is running, and you can say, okay, so this person is not working out. I need somebody with this and this experience, and invest in that position.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me. Yes, absolutely. And like, that's where we're done with like the whole, like, we're doing everything ourselves. I mean, we have 5 kids now. Like, we are looking to double our real estate in the next 2 to 5 years. And, I'm like, we're not doing this anymore, and so but because we've done everything, we can get through the process of vetting people a lot faster because we know what it takes. We know what, the payout's worth and the ROI of the property and the investment of those things and stuff, and growing in that. So it's like, we want to show people, especially with like the first income property, because that's what our program is. It's helping people buy their first income property, but do it in a way that instills wealth principles into your children. That's the whole concept. Because when you have an income property of a single family home, you can do those things because you can bring your kids to it. If you just go into like a syndication or send your money to someone and say, okay, yeah, put me in there, you're not really teaching your kids. You're not even teaching yourself of what it takes for that wealth to build. And the characteristics are what are going to keep the wealth for generations to come. And that's what we want. We want people to keep their wealth, and also like tax strategies and all the business principles of it, just putting in a tiny package for people to come in and be like, I want to do this. I want to build wealth for my family. Especially entrepreneurs, because they work really hard and they work a lot of hours, but sometimes you're just getting through it. And the government's taking most of your money from taxes,
Yes.
and you're not building anything for retirement or beyond. I'm not banking on the government taking care of me when I'm 65, and I don't even want my kids to take care of me. I want to take care of myself. I want to leave a legacy of me paying for whatever health facility I need when I'm 90, And so looking ahead to that, that's what these properties, I mean, that's why he got started, because he saw the long term. And I did too. And I was like, man, this is like, let's do this together.
Yeah, no, I repeat what I said last time. Your idea, it's so incredible because it's what we need. We don't have we and I speak, I'm in the inner city by New York, and it's here, it's way more the environment is way more quicker, fast paced. And I can honestly say we don't have that. We don't have that product. We don't have peoples like yourself that can put all this information together and now give it to you and teach you, whether it's, hey, you want to buy a house, let me educate you, or sell it in a course. We do not have that. There's no like taxes, the headaches. Okay, just doing my taxes, my business, right? But seeing these, my wife trying to explain to clients how should they work and put their house into taxes, or how the payment should go. It's a headache.
Yeah.
And then the most difficult part is teaching your children about finance, right? And how does it work? And my God, it's just so much. There's so much.
And there's so much fear and anxiety, especially with young kids today, because we live in a world where kids are given a lot of things. Like Tracy and I grew up and we never got anything unless it was birthday or Christmas. Like,
and if that.
Right. I mean, like we earned the money. If I went over to the convenience store, I remember buying the little Laffy Tappies when they were square fat things in the 90s.
Yes.
And they were like a nickel. And you could get, a whole dollar, you could get all these Laffy Tappies. But like that dollar was, blood, sweat, and tears of like raking leaves or taking cans to the grocery store because there was a machine where you put the cans in and you'd get coins back, and doing all these little odd job stuff. Or, I mean, I'd clean houses for older ladies or just sit and talk with them. They like pay me for company, just different things that we were creative so that we could buy that. But nowadays, everything is given to them. Not everything, but a lot. I see it a lot more, even in our own kids, and the expectation that kids have to have everything, and it has to be new, and it has to be this. And so by the time that they're 18 and we send them off to college, when you actually sit down and like tell them how expensive stuff is and like what the expenses, I don't even like to say expensive, what the expenses of life are, they're overwhelmed, because then you teach them what like minimum wage is and they're like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? And so for us, we're trying to vet our kids early. And I try to teach my kids to the expensive word. They'll say, oh, this is expensive. And I always tell them, compared to what? It's an expense. If it's worth it to you, then it's not expensive. Now you have to compare it. What's the quality? What's the joy it's going to bring you? What's the convenience? Whatever that thing is, but they're talking like sweatpants, like $50 sweatpants versus $15 sweatpants. And I'm like, yes, you could say this is expensive compared to this one, but is this quality better? Is this brand mean something to you? It's going to give you a feeling and emotion, then it's worth it to you. But that means that $50 that you could have bought 3 pairs of pants, and like teaching that I don't want to put my own money limitations on them, because that's how my parents were. They were like, everything's so expensive. Oh my gosh. And my kids will catch me saying this, and I got to tell them the story that happened. And, I've done a lot of work on like a money mindset and money blocks, because growing up, we did not have a lot. And so I have a lot of money blocks, but I'm a lot better than I was. But the store the other day, I pulled back my old belief patterns because my kids wanted, what was it? Gushers. Okay, like the candy Gushers. Okay. So we get up to the checkout, and it's a big box, but it's still only like 30 little packages, and I scan it and the box was $8. And I just wasn't expecting it to be $8. I don't know if I was expecting it to be $4 or $5, but I just go, $8 for this. And my kids were like mortified because I said it really loud, and the guy next to us like turned and looked at us. And so they still make fun of me for that. You know, they're like, $8. And it's funny because $8 is not a lot.
Yeah.
But for me, $8 for a little thing of candy, I thought that's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, I agree.
Right? But what I say that because we put our own money limitations on our kids. And I don't, I'm working really hard to not do that for my kids, but to, show them, especially through, the work that we do, whether that's with the income property or just sitting down with them and saying like, this job is worth this amount of money. And then you want to earn this. So it's going to take you this many jobs or this many hours. We try not to teach our kids to trade your time for money. So we do it with jobs, because I'm like, it could take you 2 hours to clean out the garage. Or if you're really efficient and you get a couple friends, you could have it done in 30 minutes and just give them a little bit of cut, and you're only doing 30 minutes. So we always try to teach them ways to advance their time and not just be like, oh, I'm working for so many hours. Because we don't want them to be an employee. We want them to own their future, whatever that looks like. Even if they want to be a doctor, even if they want to be a teacher, you can still be your own employee in those giftings.
Yeah.
And so just teaching them those things and teaching it to other families in a way that's, again, fun. And it's not like, sometimes you can teach your kids something and someone else can teach them something, and they just hear it differently. And so that's really what we want to do. We want to change the next generation so where they're really true change makers. And we have to change the way that we perceive money, and even the word finance and budget and taxes and account. These all have like these weird negative connotations, and they don't have to be. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be light and easy and fun. And we just don't do that. And you don't see that very often.
Yeah. I would say like with my kids, I started changing the vocabulary. Like when my grandson asks for something, I'll ask him, is that investment or this is a liability? Like, is this something you're going to use for quite some time, or is this a one-time deal?
Yep.
And I challenge him to think, because you got to think about these things. And then the other thing I do is like I print shirts, right? So I sit down and talk to him and try to I don't know, convince him, right? To understand. But
persuade
eventually,
him.
like, what is the value of this work? Because once you understand the value of the work, then you'll start understanding the value of money. Understand that if you, like you said, you inspire your children to be self boss rather than to be an employee, right? So if you go to work for a job and they're paying you $15 minimum, and you got to be there for 8 hours. I'm here. I printed over, let's say, 20 shirts, and 3 hours I made double the amount of money that if I was working at a 8 hour job working minimum wage. So what is the worth of your work? If you don't like, if like for him, example, if he doesn't know the what the work consists of, the experience, what does it, the energy and strength and it takes to do the job, then you're not gonna understand what money is.
Yep.
That's why I love you guys. You guys teaching them farming. That's a lot of work. That's physical work. That's challenging. That's every day you're coming with a toll. You have to have that physicalness to understand now your mind is building up. Like your kids, like you understand your kids are gonna probably be better than regular kids just because of the work. They understand the value of work.
Right.
That's the most important part.
Yeah. And they see how hard he works. And we talk a lot about this because I wish that the work that you put out, meaning, like the work hard, like if you just work hard, you're going to be wealthy and you're going to do this. The reality is it's not that, because him and like my dad growing up, my dad worked minimum 12-hour days, minimum. They were usually 15, 16-hour days, 6 days a week, sometimes 7. Every day, work in the grind, blue collar. He was an electrician. If it was true that you work hard, you become wealthy, he would be a multimillionaire, but that's not the truth. And so even in farming, we rely so much on the market and what other things do that we don't. This is why we do real estate.
Yeah.
And this is why, I mean, he will always do some sort of farming because he loves it. But I would love for him to just do it because he loves it and it's a hobby and not have to like work the grind. And I'd love him to be able to hire out more of it that's like literally killing his body because
But as men, we need that. Though as
right,
men, we
right,
need
right.
men.
A little bit is
Trust
good. A
me.
lot, I need him around. I don't want to be 90 and him dead. Okay, I have 5 girls. I'm not doing this alone, right?
Wow.
But we want to teach them, yes, you need to work hard and you need to know I feel like every CEO should clean toilets. Like I do. I feel like every
Yes.
person needs to dig
Yes.
a ditch. Every person needs to, do the hard labor, like outdoor work. But I also think you need to work smarter and say, okay, what's really important? What is truly important? If you're just building your legacy, you're building your wealth, your company, to just leave it to your kids, that's dumb because they're not going to know what to do with it. And all they want is time with you. And I always say that because all I wanted was time with my dad growing up. And he needed to provide, and he did. But there were things that he could have done differently using his brain because my dad is incredibly smart. And he did not tap into that. This man is incredibly smart, but has never reached that full potential because he's always just worked hard because that's the way that we were raised.
Mhm.
That's the way that we were programmed. And I love it because he's a provider. And I love it because I know he'll do whatever it takes. And I want that for our family. But I also want them to look at things differently. Like, okay, I can do what I love, I can farm, but where can I hire out the things that I don't love? Where could I hire out so I can go on a vacation and not be worried about the farm? Where can I get an executive associate that I could actually pay at a high level so I know they're going to do the job well and train them so that I can leave and enjoy life and give back and maybe go, do some charity work or whatever. Because when you're constantly the one doing the labor, you're at the bottom.
Yeah.
You're constantly having to be there. And even if you're the manager, the second level up, you're still kind of having to be there. I want to be at the top too, where that is just like leadership or imagination and creativity. And then we lead other people and bless other people with incomes that can help them. And we get to do the things that we truly enjoy and are our gifting. And that's really where our path is. And that's what we want to teach other people too, as well, even like entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
In the program, it's like teaching those principles, so that you don't have to constantly be the one, because then that's the overwhelm, that's the stress, that's
Mhm.
anxiety, that's, oh my gosh, it's all up to me and I can't fail
Yeah.
and
No,
labor.
you're speaking values of truth. And my experience, it's like it's a mindset you have to slowly develop
Yeah.
because for me being an entrepreneur, being my own boss, like I had to do the work. I had to do the work because if I don't, I wouldn't understand what it consists of.
Yes.
So now
Right.
when I
Yep.
branch out, when I hire somebody, I don't want to hire somebody that I feel like at the end of the day is going to take advantage of me. Like
Right.
I worked in my 20s, I worked security. I built myself up. Then I left that and I started into the janitorial. I started cleaning toilets, right? And little by little, I moved up to the operations. So when I'm sitting back and when I used to sit back in my chair and I evaluate each worker, I know the value of the work that consists of.
Yeah.
Yep.
But doing that work helped me, at least in my opinion, develop that mindset and where I can't do this all on my own.
Yep.
Right.
I came into upper management. You're a
Yep.
mayor now. You're a president. You're
Yep.
you're the one overseeing everything. And we're like, you want to grow? That this is what I understood. Like, you want to grow, you have to have the product. You
Yeah.
you expecting for going to clients like a real estate example. Like my brother-in-law, he flips and does a lot of crap in real estate, right? But what he understood and this conversation I had with him was that have the product because you going out jobs for jobs for jobs, that's gonna take you to a certain point, but you having the product, they're always gonna come for you. It's like if you have a farm, but you have your own sort of Walmart. that your product goes straight there, but also you could distribute to other places or whoever wants to buy. But you having the product, you're in control. To end my rant, I'm sorry.
No, that's
You
okay.
got you have to develop that mindset, and I think what you're doing, what you're creating, it's helping these individuals when you approach them. Hey, you want to buy a house? Hey, you want to get into real estate? You want to get to legacy real estate? You're helping them develop that mindset. A
Yep.
lot of people don't have that. It took me years. My wife used to like, oh man, it's like she used to hit me over the head, telling me this. But I would
Yeah.
just, I all I knew was to hustle and work hard.
Uh, how many people do you know that work a job that they hate? They put a little money in their retirement, and all they look forward to is retiring. And then they get to that age,
Mm-hmm.
and their health kind of fails or whatever. Then they're not able to enjoy what they've looked forward to their whole life. That's we're trying to change people's thinking
Mm-hmm.
and get away from that, because you only get one life, so
Facts.
And
Facts.
especially when you have kids, it's like when they're little,
yeah.
that's that you don't ever get that time back. The
Yeah.
most time you ever spend with your kids is before they're 18. It's actually before they're age 12, I think. Like the most time you get with them. And so for us, like that was one of my biggest things when I first jumped on to do my own entrepreneurship. I was like, I wanted to get him home more because he was, missing a lot of moments with the kids. And I had a relationship with my dad like that. I wanted better for my girls. I wanted them to actually know him, and not just on the farm, but like just for him to come and play, and also to relieve some stress so he could enjoy his kids,
Yeah.
and that's what we want for families. This isn't, if people want to do real estate as a business, that's awesome. Like the principles that we teach, you could have one property or you could have 10, 12, 200, whatever. Like
Yeah.
the principles stay the same, but it's taking that first leap. It's
Yeah.
buying that first property. And then what? Like, how can you get your kids involved? And how could I, get my kids to listen? And the kids need to do the same thing you're doing. Mastermind,
Yeah.
coaching, mindset. Teach them these things to look differently, to think differently, to ask different questions. And that's my passion, because it's like, those are the things, that's what's going to be the true change makers. Even if they want, like I said, even if they want to be like a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher or nurse, you still have this mindset, because then you still have the control, and you don't fall into this illusion of like fear and anxiety and all of the things, because you think differently.
Yeah. They know how to make money. In a
Yeah.
sense, they know how to make money. There's a lot of
Yep.
children, and especially where I'm at in the inner city, and where like everything's so confound. Everyone is living on top of one another. There's no
Yeah.
sense of freedom. Really, God, I hate to say this, but it's almost becoming, we're teaching our children almost to become useless in a sense,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because it's hard to teach when like, and I say here because everything's so fast paced. Like
Yes.
when I was working, I have an autistic son. He's 7 years old, right? So once he got diagnosed, I didn't want to work no more. I was never home. I had over 50 property I managed. I had over 200 employees. Yeah, I was getting good money, but I didn't want to. I wanted to be home with him for his first 3 years because the pandemic hit. It was really difficult. So I was on YouTube. I was on website teaching myself how to be a therapist, so I could help my son understand what autism, understand the challenges it
Yeah.
brings, and how to advance him when there was no sense of guidance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So self-education, but also motivation. You got to be persistent, and you
Yep.
have to. You as just I can't stress it enough that you have to incorporate your kids and what you're doing. That has
Yep.
to be the normal for them.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You teach them so much value, so much sense of discipline, responsibility. And that's what we need of. And that's what every child, at least where in my area, are lacking of. They don't see the value in that. They'll
Yeah.
see why, but why? But then they're 20 years old, 30 years old, and feel like they don't have their life together. And that's why
Right.
it's so many, so many, I want to say like mental imbalance because they didn't
Oh yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And I think one big thing, and I think this is across the board. I mean, no matter where you live, whether it's like where we live or where you live, but kids aren't taking ownership.
Mm,
They're blaming everything for all of their
preach.
problems, and oh, so-and-so did this, or the government did this, or even like the president did this, or dad, you did this, or mom, you did this, or my friend did this. And that is one thing in our household that I'm like, no, where were you responsible in this? Where can you take responsibility? Because in almost every aspect, other than you being a victim of like, a physical abuse situation or something of that nature, you can take responsibility. Did you put yourself in that position? Did you
Exactly.
not stand up for yourself? Did you not stand up for them? Did you oversleep? Did you stay up too late the night before? And it's not a blaming thing. This isn't about condemning kids, but it's about taking ownership and responsibility and then saying, you know what, I can do it differently. I'm going to forgive myself. I'm going to forgive the situation, that person that did me wrong, whatever. And I'm going to move on. And either they're not going to be my friend anymore, or I'm going to be responsible in this area and move forward. And if we would just teach our kids that, the world would be different. But unfortunately, we have an epidemic of adults that don't take ownership for their responsibilities. And they are blaming the pandemic or their ex-spouse or their kids or their job or their boss. And they are not taking control. And that is like the whole premise of what we're doing is like, you can take control. Like you can take control of your finances. You can take control of your marriage. You can take control of your family. That's why we want to, that's why we're not just like your average, buy a course, learn how to do an income property.
Yeah.
This is, I want it to be more of a holistic approach, because no longer are the days that you can just, the dad goes to work, and makes the money and comes home, and the wife and the kids, like in the 50s, like that is not, and it has not been that way. And so you need to learn how to communicate with your spouse, bring the family vision in, and truly change our future. Stop lip service about it and actually do something. And this is a way that you can do it. And it's the first step. And so many people tell us we wanted to buy income properties, but we haven't done it. And I'm like, why?
You don't got the right people.
Why haven't you taken this? Yeah. Like why? And well, because the market, it's always, oh, well, we don't have the money, or, oh, the market's bad, or we just, that, I'm sorry, but that's BS. It's BS, because there are markets across, at least in the United States, that work. If we can make it in rural Nebraska, where we literally have more cows than people in the town we live in, okay? If we can make this work for us, we can help you make it work. It's just, you need just a little help with that. And then with the family aspect, like bring that joy and bring somebody else in. We're not perfect, but at the same time, it's like, if what you're doing's not working, let's try something different.
No, it's building community. It's building community. That's what that's the idea you guys have, building community. Community is so important, because especially as a parent, because if you sit there and you tell your kids 20 million times, they don't listen to you. But then you have somebody of value that's in your community that says the same thing. 9 out of 10, they will listen.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Breaking stuff, guys. All right. So what's next? When is this? Is it already out? Or are you still in development? Like I'm from New Jersey, and you got me excited.
So right now, it's keeplegacywealth.com for more information. And what we're doing is we're just people who are interested. We're like, join our wait list. And what we're doing is we're reaching out to these people and asking them, like, what do you need with this? Because I know I've been in the coaching industry for over 16 years. I could develop a program, but if it's not what the market wants, it's a waste of my time. So I want to give the market what it really needs right now. And so we have the structure of the program, like what we're going to teach people, how we're going to teach them, and then a structure of like how we would host like the masterminds, how we can get the kids involved and different things like that. But we're taking wait list and seeing, what people really need. And hey, are you going to join this program? Are you going to invest in this program to invest in yourself? Like those type of things. So we've done a soft launch this week of getting people interested in that. And then what I'm doing is I'm just going out to as many podcasts and master classes and teaching people different things and saying like, join, don't be lip service, like do the stuff that it takes to do that. So that's where we're at this. I'm really hoping by summer to just be like taking off, honestly, by the end of April, to just run with the people that want to do it. We want to help people get their first income property within 90 days, have some masterminds and get families. And even like once or twice a year, maybe all get together for like a cruise or like a destination where we can meet each other and mastermind and build relationships and collaborations, and for future endeavors, whether that's entrepreneurship, real estate, that type of thing. So really build that strong community of like-minded people that want to change the way that we build legacy and the way we see wealth and looking at wealth characteristics.
Oh, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, thank you for joining me once again. It's been an honor speaking with you guys. So much fun. I wish you the best of luck, and send me I would like to put my name in that hat and
Okay.
wait when it comes out.
Okay, awesome.
Before we go, please tell the people where they can find you at.
So I'm at Tab Thorell on Instagram and Coach Tab on TikTok. My husband doesn't really do a whole lot of social media. We're supposed to do a Tab and Tracy Instagram page and TikTok. That'll be soon to come. But keeplegacywealth.com is where this is, or Tab Thorell is my website. And that's where we have all like our free resources and different things like that. But we're working on even this him and I content like on my social media right now. So Tab Thorell and Coach Tab on TikTok.
Boom, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to go follow them, go support it, go check them out, go sign or fill out whatever you need to wait for that arrival. Make sure you're following me on Instagram, Mr.Inspire. Go follow me on Facebook, Dear Marking Diaz. Go like and subscribe our YouTube channel, DIOTALK TV. I'm out, guys. Have a good night.